New Deep Dive.
So, have you ever wondered what happens when a tech titan, someone really known for shaking things up, decides to jump headfirst into politics?
Yeah, not just like donating money or tweeting about it.
Exactly, but actually launching their own political party.
It's a pretty big move.
Well, that's exactly what Elon Musk has just done, announcing the America Party.
Wow. Okay.
And today, we're going to take a deep dive into this. It's an audacious move, to say the least.
Absolutely.
We'll try to explore, the motivations behind it, the immediate reactions, both public and political.
And the challenges too, right? There must be huge hurdles.
Oh, definitely. And the potential impacts. We've gathered insights from, all over news reports from Poland, Germany.
Places like TVN24, WPROS, DW, Euractiv.pl.
Yeah, and market analysis, social media sentiment, the whole picture.
Okay, so our mission here is basically to cut through all the noise because there's bound to be a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
We want to help you understand what this might actually mean for American politics, maybe even wider than that.
Right.
We'll dig out those key nuggets of knowledge so you can get up to speed pretty quickly on this whole unfolding story.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. What really drove Elon Musk to create a whole new political party?
Yeah, what's the catalyst?
It seems like it was maybe a mix of general frustration and then one specific flashpoint.
Well, what's really interesting is how the sources we looked at, they kind of point to both. There's this long-standing dissatisfaction he seems to have.
Okay.
And then a very recent, very direct conflict. Musk has said, pretty publicly, that he sees the current two-party system as basically a monoparty.
A monoparty. What does he mean by that?
His view is that it leads to waste and corruption. So his stated goal for the America Party is to be an alternative.
An alternative for who, specifically?
He says it's for the 80% of Americans in the middle, the ones who don't feel like they fit neatly into the extremes of either party.
Right, that classic middle ground argument.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the broad frustration. Was there a specific event, though? Something that really lit the fuse?
Ah, yes. The immediate trigger, according to our sources, was Musk's really sharp criticism of what he called the Great Beautiful Bill.
The Great Beautiful Bill. Okay.
It's a budget bill President Trump signed on July 4th, 2025.
Okay, and what was Musk's issue with it?
He claims it massively increases the budget deficit, like $3.8 trillion over 10 years.
Wow.
And maybe crucially, it cuts subsidies for electric vehicles.
Ah, so that hits close to home for Tesla.
Exactly. It directly impacts his business interests.
So, okay, that raises the big question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How much of this is about, high-minded principle versus his own personal and financial stakes?
That's the million-dollar question, or maybe trillion-dollar question here.
Yeah.
And the sources suggest it's probably, a bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
While that bill clearly affects Tesla, the narrative also points to this deeper frustration he's had for a while.
It wasn't their first clash, was it? Between Musk and Trump?
No, not at all. Remember back in June 2025, Musk called Trump's budget proposal disgusting.
Right, I remember that.
He even supported impeachment and made some insinuations about Jeffrey Epstein connections.
Oh, yeah, though he walked some of that back later, didn't he? After talking to Trump.
He did, yeah. He retracted some accusations. But this pattern, it does make you wonder, is this mainly about ideology, or is it driven more by these personal clashes and financial hits?
It's hard to untangle.
It is. But regardless of the why, Musk has been clear about the what. He said the party's focus will be on winning key seats in the Senate and the House.
To influence legislation, presumably the controversial stuff.
Exactly, to have leverage.
Okay, so the announcement goes out. What happens next? How do people react? Social media must have exploded.
Oh, absolutely. And interestingly, the initial vibe, especially online, seemed pretty receptive. Maybe surprisingly so.
Really?
Yeah, the day before he announced it, July 4th, he put up a poll on X, asked if Americans would support a new party.
And?
65% said yes.
Yeah.
And that was at 1.2 million votes.
Wow, okay, 1.2 million votes, 65% yes. That's not nothing.
No, it suggests there's an appetite there.
Did any, more traditional polling back that up? Or was it just an X thing?
Well, there was a Qantas Insights survey around that time, late June, early July. It found 40% of registered voters said they'd consider supporting Musk's party.
40%.
And maybe even more telling, 59% of independent voters said they felt neither the Republicans nor the Democrats really represented American values.
So a real sense of political homelessness out there, perhaps.
Certainly suggests fertile ground, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A potential opening for something new.
But you said the X sentiment was initially receptive. Was it all positive online, or did the skeptics jump in quickly?
Oh, the skeptics were definitely there too. It was pretty mixed, actually. You had some users like at Christoph Poland praising Musk, saying it's a party of reason and competence focused on saving money.
Okay, the supporters.
But then you had others, like at Mersenfrog XXX, who were basically saying, yeah, right, this is just like the Libertarian Party. It won't go anywhere major.
Fair enough. Third parties have a tough time historically.
Exactly. And another user at Android Polska kind of questioned the whole premise, asking if the goal to fight the national debt was, a real plan or just sort of utopian talk.
So, a real mix of hope and skepticism online. Now, Washington, this couldn't have gone unnoticed there.
Not a chance.
You can probably guess who had something to say pretty fast. What was Donald Trump's take? Especially since he was, well, central to Musk's initial complaints.
Predictably, yeah.
Huh.
Trump called the whole idea absurd.
Absurd.
Said a third party would only increase confusion. He argued the Republican Party is doing fine, it's successful, and basically suggested Musk himself had kind of derailed.
Yeah.
Called him a disaster.
Strong words. Okay, so Trump dismisses it. Who else weighed in from the political or financial world?
Well, Scott Bessent, the U.S. Minister of Finance.
Treasury Secretary, yeah.
Right. He basically told Musk to stick to business, even took a bit of a jab, pointing out that Musk isn't maybe as universally popular now as he was during, say, the DOGE coin hype.
Ouch, kind of questioning his current influence level.
And then there was Steve Bannon. That got pretty heated.
Oh, yeah, the exchange with Bannon. Tell us about that.
Bannon, former Trump strategist, he went on the attack hard, called Musk non-American, even threatened deportation.
Whoa, okay. That's intense.
Yeah, and Musk hit back just as sharp, said Bannon will go back to jail.
So, yeah, not pulling any punches there. Okay, so we have these strong reactions, dismissals, attacks. What do the political analysts make of it? What could this actually do to the political landscape?
Well, the experts are a bit divided, which probably isn't surprising. Dr. Witold Sokaya, for example, sees it as potentially damaging for Trump.
How so?
Siphoning off some support, perhaps. But he also adds a note of caution about foreign policy influence, given Musk's business ties in China and alleged links to Russia.
Right, those complexities. Any other perspectives?
Yeah, David Townley from the University of Portsmouth, he suggests an interesting counterintuitive point. He thinks the American Party might actually hurt the Republicans more.
Okay.
By splitting their vote, potentially, which could, ironically, end up helping the Democrats maybe gain a majority in the House.
Fascinating. So it could backfire on the side Musk seems more aligned with recently.
Potentially. And even the international press, like Germany's Rhein-Neckar-Zeitung, they called it a provocation, maybe an act of megalomania. They seem pretty doubtful it would succeed, thinking he doesn't have enough pull with actual Republican voters.
So a lot of skepticism about its viability, even if it causes disruption. Okay, let's look ahead then. Big announcement, mixed reactions, political firefight. What are the real practical hurdles? And what are the actual chances this party gets off the ground?
Yeah, this is where, the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
And it raises a fundamental question. How hard is it really to start a new successful party in the U.S.?
Pretty hard, I'd imagine.
Extremely. Politico, for instance, highlights the huge challenges. Just getting on the ballot in all the states involves navigating this incredibly complex web of different state-level rules and regulations.
Right, it's not just one national process.
Not at all. And beyond the logistics, there's the substance. Musk hasn't actually put out a detailed program yet. There's no concrete plan of action for the party that we've seen.
So it's more of an idea, an announcement, than a fully formed political entity right now.
Pretty much, yeah. A statement of intent, perhaps.
And what about the markets? You mentioned his business interests earlier. How did Wall Street react when a CEO like Musk jumps so publicly into politics?
Well, the immediate reaction wasn't great for Tesla. The sources show Tesla shares dropped about 2% in morning trading right after the announcement on July 7th.
Okay, so a tangible hit. Investors may be feeling a bit uncertain about him dividing his focus or the political risks?
Could be a mix of both. It definitely shows that these kinds of political ventures, especially from someone so high profile, can have immediate financial consequences. It underscores the risk involved.
Okay, so wrapping this up for you, the listener, what have we learned from this deep dive? It seems pretty clear there is public interest, maybe significant interest, in an alternative to the two main parties.
Yeah, the polls and the X-polls suggest that.
But the path for Elon Musk's America Party looks incredibly difficult. You've got major legal hurdles. Huge political pushback already.
And financial complexities, both for the party and for Musk personally, it seems.
Right. So the whole thing is definitely seen as a major provocation. But whether it actually changes American politics in a big way, that seems, well, highly uncertain at this point.
Very much so. And maybe here's something to think about. Let's say, hypothetically, the American Party does manage to win a few key seats in Congress. Just a few.
Okay.
Would their influence then come mostly from genuine, broad public backing? Or would it be more about the power they gain simply by being able to disrupt that tight two-party balance, playing kingmaker?
That's a great question. Is it about mandate or just leverage?
Exactly. And what could that mean for how government works, how policy actually gets made in the U.S. going forward? Something to mull over.
Subscribe to New Deep Dive.